Dan, it's great to have you back on the show. Listen, they missed on the bottom line, but they did better on the top line. It looks like their full fiscal year revenue guidance is slightly stronger than expected, too. But I think the top line, it really seems like that's the focus here, because this is one of those tech names where there's been a lot of concern over the last couple of years about how much they can grow their sales. And here it is, 8% year over year. Is that what's driving the stock higher?
Yeah, look, Goldilocks quarter, because it also shows the AI revolution, the software piece, is now coming to Salesforce. And you look at they've had issues clearly over the last year. I think it's a get out the popcorn moment. This is the start, not just for Salesforce, but for broader, for software, a huge moment where we are in the AI revolution.
So in light of that, how much then is going to hinge on the commentary and the guidance we have relating to Agentforce specifically?
Oh, I think that's front and center. I mean, that's the goal at the end of the rainbow in terms of Agentforce. I think that could ultimately be $5-6 billion a year as this all plays out. Hearing from Benioff is very important in terms of what they're seeing from a demand perspective. But Morgan, we've talked about it. I mean, all of our checks are showing this is just the start. This is going to be a renaissance of growth for Benioff and Salesforce. This is a stock I think has massive upside over the next year.
Dan, current remaining performance obligations up 10% speaks well of the pipeline, but why don't you care about this bottom line miss?
Yeah, I think, John, right now, you want to see them just focus on spending, especially when it comes to what they're building out, you know, from an AI perspective. I think that was an issue that they had 6 months ago. So even though bottom line and margins was an issue if you go back a year and a half, 2 years ago, no longer. I mean, right now, this is a phenomenal balance of growth. You look at what we see going forward, double-digit type growth. I mean, I think this is actually a stock that starts to get re-rated. And broader, the software piece of the AI party now comes. It's not just Oracle. Now it's Salesforce, ServiceNow, you know, many others, of course, led by the Messi of AI, Palantir.
So it's interesting you say that, Dan, because Pure Storage also has some costs kind of spinning up a hyperscaler deal that they're involved with. We're going to hear from the CEO on that in just a minute. Should investors get used to the idea beyond the hyperscalers themselves of companies having to spend, Salesforce, Pure, to capture that AI opportunity?
Yeah, and that's going to be a phenomenal interview on the Pure Storage, because I think what it shows, it's about these second, third, fourth derivatives. We're talking about the biggest tech trend in the last 40 to 50 years. So investors, the street, they're fine if you're spending, if you're seeing the growth and you're seeing the deal flow. But now it's not just about Mag 7, and those are going to continue to do phenomenal. It's about where in software, in cyber, in storage. It just shows now this AI party, you have in the rest of tech come, which is why our view, tech stocks are up another 20% next year. This is just the beginning in terms of what we're seeing. Tonight's a huge night.
Nvidia is setting the stock market abuzz with its remarkable performance, positioning itself as a frontrunner in the technological arena. Recently, the company's financial successes and innovative leadership in artificial intelligence have sparked a wave of interest from investors across the globe. As the single best-performing stock in the S&P 500 in 2023, Nvidia continues to impress, ranking consistently within the top 5 in 2024. Their state-of-the-art graphics processing units are fueling this astonishing growth. But there are more intriguing developments in the pipeline that merit attention. Notably, the excitement surrounding Nvidia's newest GPU, Blackwell, is stirring conversations and setting expectations sky-high, with industry leaders and analysts weighing in on its potential impact. All eyes are on Nvidia as it prepares to reshape the market once again, leaving stakeholders eager to see what unfolds next. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
If you take a look at the stock of Nvidia, which we all think is an unbelievably good stock.
Oh, we think it's an unbelievably good company.
Right. Okay, so
I'll allow you to say it's an unbelievably good stock.
A year ago, the stock looked like it was selling it at 50 times forward earnings. Okay. It turned out to be selling at 20 times earnings because Nvidia far exceeded what anyone thought it could do. So you could have bought that stock at 20 times earnings last year. You could have bought it at 18 times earnings before the big ramp in May. And we sit here and we think, what an overvalued stock. It turned out to be undervalued.
Right.
It turned out to be radically undervalued versus the S&P, versus General Mills. Doesn't that show you that?
Okay, but that is a unique, perhaps once in a lifetime kind of move increase in earnings. I mean, they came into 23. Analysts were expecting like 20-something billion in earnings. They did 60.
But I'm saying that if that's able to do that, maybe we are being too negative. That Nvidia, the greatest story of all time, arguably, turned out to be very cheap. That's not supposed to be. That means that maybe.
And as a result, every other name is cheap?
No.
Is cheap.
Reddit
is cheap.
Can I finish? No, people say, I want the next Nvidia. And it might be Reddit. Maybe it's AppLovin. That's all that's happening. And who am I to squelch?
I'll tell you who you are. You're a guy who's been on TV yapping about this stuff for 20-something years. You ran a hedge fund.
26.
And on and on. And I could easily see you sitting here in 10 minutes and saying these things are all completely hot air.
Well, no, I'm saying that those are two different things. There's a dichotomy, okay? There are people who say, I want the next Nvidia at $3.5 trillion, and there are companies that could be the next Nvidia. But people are not discerning. They are saying, you know what? Maybe Joby is for real.
First of all, there's not going to be another Nvidia.
How many do you think there are?
There's only one.
There are many people who buy lottery tickets every single day.
Oh, so now we're playing the lottery.
Really? Joby. We're into flying cars. Why not?
Okay.
And we know what the total addressable market
all right.
be.
Look, there's a person. I'm going to tell you a wild story.
Really?
Do you know that there's a man who has maybe the largest supercomputer in the world in Tennessee?
I do,
and he spent a fortune on NVIDIA chips.
I know a lot about that,
Maybe
yes.
tens of billions of dollars?
No, not tens of billions. Yeah, not yet.
Hundreds.
No. He's going to spend $10 billion.
And he's developing.
Chips. Yeah,
I'm going to make David live. He's developing humanoids. How crazy is that? David, I'm saying that the crazy stuff is paying off in many humanoids. Right. Elon Musk is developing humanoids. There's two billionaires fighting against each other, right? In tweets.
Bezos and Musk, you're talking about.
And these guys, and I want a piece of that.
I'll tell you one thing.
Everyone wants a piece of the action, David.
In the arena of cutting-edge technology, NVIDIA stands not only as a veteran, but as a prime exemplar of innovation. Enthusiastic newscasters have pointed to the company's latest stride towards dominance, an inevitable conversation starter among enthusiasts and investors alike. Here's a billion-dollar question. Are NVIDIA's GPUs the caffeine in AI's coffee? The evidence suggests they very well might be. Analysts from Forrester Research, led by Mike Gualtieri, claim modern AI as we know it couldn't exist without NVIDIA's GPUs, and that's no exaggeration. NVIDIA finds itself at the heart of a golden epoch, credited largely to the CUDA software development tools ecosystem, and the unmatched prowess of its GPUs in AI training and inference. Gearheads are buzzing about the Blackwell GPU, a technological marvel in NVIDIA's arsenal, anticipated to advance AI tasks exponentially, 4 times faster in training and 30 times faster in inferences than its predecessor. To put things in perspective, CFO Colette Kress has already stated that the demand for Blackwell is staggering to the extent that it's sold out for an entire year. This isn't just market chatter, it's a sign of NVIDIA's impending triumph, with predictions pointing toward market-beating returns once Blackwell augments the top-line figures in the subsequent fiscal year. Understanding NVIDIA's dominance also demands examining its financial strategies. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with NVIDIA's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
Bonwin, thoughts on the broader market hitting new highs on the Dow, the S&P within a hair of 6,000, or pick up on Tim's thinking on the semis versus software?
So I'm going to be defensive and offensive.
Okay.
So I'm going to avoid the question first and then answer it second.
Very nice.
So in terms of the broader market, listen, I think we're in essentially an everything rally right now. Going into the NVIDIA print, I think a lot of us spoke about how we were a bit concerned about that. We'd like to see it perhaps trade a little flat or perhaps just be a bit more defensive in terms of posturing before going into that print. I think that kind of explains the move that we saw post-earnings because it was yet another blowout quarter. I think questions about Blackwell supply and ability and back ordering and pull forward of ordering there. I think those concerns have been assuaged. And then in terms of the divergence between what we're seeing from SMH and I Give Up is, a lot of those names. Let's take Salesforce, for example. The question was, and this is also with some of the hyperscalers, this AI-related CapEx spend needs to be justified. That was the prevailing wisdom at the time. And these companies were coming under pressure because investors really didn't feel like they had an accurate answer to that question. You saw Salesforce trade off, I don't know what it was, 25% post-earnings. And so a lot of those names had gotten beaten up coming into the print. And so that explains a bit of it. It's essentially you have like a star player like Nvidia dragging up the rest of the balance. And so you've kind of been mired in that drag because, again, there's been a massive divergence between AI-related CapEx spend and then CapEx spend going forward.
Amidst speculations of eroding margins and competitor threats, Nvidia has maintained an extraordinary operating margin, a full 18 percentage points above its counterparts among the Magnificent Seven. Even as rivals like Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet venture into creating custom AI accelerators, they falter without an equivalent software ecosystem like CUDA. Bearing in mind Morgan Stanley's Joseph Moore's statement about the pervasive underestimation of NVIDIA's competitive fortitude, one can't help but engage in a moment of levity. Battling NVIDIA is an uphill climb, akin to bringing a knife to a GPU fight. Furthermore, NVIDIA's strategic foray into share buybacks has also bolstered its market positioning. With President-elect Donald Trump proposing a slashing of corporate tax rates to 15%, companies like Nvidia could potentially see significant financial benefits. Though these fiscal changes won't take immediate effect, the anticipation alone could catalyze a surge in share value, a typical case of the stock market's forward-looking nature. Financial entities eagerly forecast these developments, with Nvidia's affordable valuation adding to its allure. Despite a 9-fold increase in market value since early 2023, Nvidia's valuation remains surprisingly reasonable compared to other AI enterprises. Its P/E ratio slightly surpasses 1, setting up Nvidia for continued robust performance, unrivaled by many in the tech industry. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
So let's talk about NVIDIA, okay? Your read on the quarter, which was, obviously a beat, sales up 94% year on year. That is a slowdown from the prior 3 quarters, which have just been astounding, and 94% up year over year is amazing, obviously, but what's your take?
I mean, let's say at the start, it's down a little bit today because expectations were sky high. But this was a blockbuster quarter by NVIDIA, right? What's clear to me now, and what I think the biggest takeaway from the call, is that the world runs on NVIDIA. As Jensen said, AI is in full swing. He said this is a multi-year event. This is not just about training AI. This is about moving all the world's x86 architecture, all the applications that run on CPUs are going to be rebuilt over the course of the next 3 or 4 years on GPUs that are running machine learning. So I think that the market is going to have to digest. This just isn't about training clusters in 2025. This is about GPU data centers that are going to be built in 26, in 27. And so for us, our numbers came up. You saw that I think 10 sell-side analysts took up their price targets for the stock. We were buying it pre-market when it was down today.
Oh, you're buying it this morning?
Yeah. So, I think it was a blockbuster report. And I think, it's clear to me that the Intels of the world are going to continue to lose share, and the NVIDIAs of the world are going to continue to gain share. And if you want to bet on the tailwinds associated with AI, you have to have NVIDIA in your portfolio.
Okay. As the excitement surrounding NVIDIA continues to escalate, the company embodies the very spirit of modern technological prowess. Its pioneering efforts in AI, coupled with savvy financial maneuvering, render it a formidable contender for any investor's portfolio. With the Blackwell GPU gearing up to hit markets, NVIDIA is well-positioned for an uptrend, bolstered by strong growth forecasts and a stable footing in the face of industry challenges. The current state of NVIDIA's stock echoes this sentiment, trading at favorable valuations and poised for ascendancy. Investors can glean much from NVIDIA's trajectory, a beacon of innovation and proactive market strategy, clearly set for thrilling advances. The market watches eagerly, as the next chapter of NVIDIA's illustrious journey unfolds, inviting everyone to share their thoughts and opinions. What does the future hold for NVIDIA? This remains an open field for both seasoned investors and newcomers to speculate and engage. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like NVIDIA have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.